Aloha. Today I wanted to go into a little more depth and detail in reference to the geometric relationship between the human experience and the earth plane overall. I've spoken in reference to this in a lot of my earlier videos, and I've recently kind of just expanded upon observing from a more, I guess, tangible interpretation of this reality. But I've been being more and more, moving more and more towards the non-physical interpretations of this reality, which I see like sacred geometry and a lot of the the alchemy, so the leading more towards the alchemical perspectives of this reality. This is one of the most basic interpretations that I've spoken on in the past, and even this video is not going to go into the depths of the intricacies or the complexities of what the MerKaBa is. I just wanted to give a very brief and shallow interpretation of basically like an introduction into how I interpret what this earth plane actually is, what the human light body is, and how the earth plane and the human experience is a reflection of the earth plane experience, and just give some examples of that. The trigger to this dream, or the trigger to this video, was a dream that I actually had that woke me up. I was, I don't know, it was weird. I was in a dream and I was observing everywhere around me this geometric pattern that you can see kind of being explained in this video footage that you're looking at right now. This video footage, or this 3D animation, is kind of what I was seeing, but what I was seeing more of was the MerKaBa itself. So you can see the star in the middle. For people who are unfamiliar, the star in the middle, and I'll get to all the Zionist Jewish flag stuff for people who are seeing this from that perspective. So just bear with me. I have to get to the base, the foundation, before I get to the manipulation of this energy. So the dream was, I was completely enveloped in imagine that star tetrahedron in the middle, an infinite number of them, kind of like the flower of life built upon itself in this image. That image was folding on itself, kind of like you're looking at right now, but it wasn't in the shape of the flower of life. It was actually in the shape of the MerKaBa. So what it was, and I think I'll put up an image right now so you can actually see what I'm talking about, and before I play the next image. This image that you're looking at right now is what I was seeing. If you can imagine, in the top left, the top point of this MerKaBa, the number 9, and then you can see at the bottom point of that MerKaBa the number 9. So what I was seeing was, in the dream, how it was folding on itself. The top part, number 9, the top number 9 was, this was the story I got from the dream when I woke up. You have your top point, your top completion in one world, and then you have the bottom completion in another world, and then you have the experience in between. So you have the threes and the sixes in between, but you are complete. You are the complete system ever forever unfolding on yourself. This is what I was excuse me. This is what I was interpreting as the human experience from an infinite perspective. So just as that flower of life was folding on itself over and over again, these the points, the points on this MerKaBa are also folding with themselves and spin just as that star tetrahedron, which is the same as the MerKaBa, spins around. This is a constant movement, a constant shifting of your moment, your thought. You can see this as every thought, every thought having a geometric position in existence. That's a good way of explaining it. Every thought having a geometric position and vibration and frequency in existence. Every single thought becomes an action, and that's how you materialize your reality. So before a baby is even born, you are materializing that relationship between your positive and negative and your partner's positive and negative to create a portal for another positive and negative to manifest into this reality. And that baby will have traits and all kinds of other things that are reflective of both the mother and the father. And the way they activate those traits will be up to the experiencer and the experience in which that baby is raised. I see this as being like as soul groups, like I was saying in previous videos. None of this stuff is a mistake when you meet people. So no, when you have a child, that's not somebody that's separate from you or something that's separate from you in a sense. There's some kind of energetic familiarity there when this goes into like soul groups and all that other stuff. But I don't really want to get off track with this. I want to stay on focus with the dream and relate it. And what I'm going to relate it to is the basic geometries of the egg of life. So from one cell to the next, your body being created. So your body coming into being cell by cell has a geometric function, has a geometric design. Okay, where should I start? I'll go back to, so now that I've explained pretty much the dream folding, so that's really what it was. It was the top part folding over and the bottom part, the top part and the bottom part folding over on itself. And that's how I was seeing what the individual experience is, or the individual observation of this reality is, in a geometric fashion, just as the flower of life is an everlasting. It doesn't stop. It just continues to go and build upon itself. So the intricacies of within that infinite, in order, the linear interpretations in order to have a conscious experience, are the threes to the sixes, the 6 to the 3, the 9 to the 9, the in-between space, and I'll get into the 666 and all that other stuff too, and why it's demonized as the mark, the number of the beast, and so on and so forth, and how it relates to carbon and melanin. I'll get into all of that. But I wanted to first play this image before I start that. After I shared the dream, I wanna play this video to give a basic breakdown of the MerKaBa and just show you, just give a little like platform of where I'm coming from when I'm going to explain all this other stuff. So this is basically just a uh, like a MerKaBa 101 interpretation, and I myself haven't even gone into the depths of this yet because I need to sit down and do this for a number of days and weeks and possibly even years. But my mission is to do something else, do this right now. So basically, the spin is what we're talking about when we're talking about experience. We're talking about your spin, your lack of spin. So it encompasses the entire body. So the incarnation of light, the light body itself. So your invisible space, geometric space. So this is like the macro, whereas your chakras could be interpreted as the micro. The micro spins. So you have your solar plexus, your sacral chakra, your root chakra, your heart chakra, your throat chakra, your third eye, your crown chakra. All of those have spin. You work on them in every experience. Exactly. So this is what I'm saying in reference to how everything is connected. Each one is a gateway. Each chakra, each spin is a gateway relating to our incarnation. When the MerKaBa is activated, it forms a counter-rotating field of light which creates a dimensional gateway for the light body to stabilize within the physical body. And for its other structures such as the chakras to activate and stabilize as well. So this is the macro, the micro, the conscious and the subconscious. This allows for the possibility of incarnating a higher consciousness permanently, as well as raising the vibration of the physical body. If successful, it becomes possible to take the physical body into the fifth dimension. So we're constantly in and out of the fifth dimension. This is just something that I was differing with this videos. We're already there. We just have a chosen position based upon the experiences that we've experienced previously. So the explanation of these fifth dimension is just an example of movement through experience. So each experience like that, like each life, from a life to a death, can be seen as a thought. So each thought is a life and a death. Each thought is an expansion. Each entire life is an expansion into the higher densities. So when we observe these, so each thought can be related to each life. You have a thought and then you expand a thought. You think one thing, you think you know it all, and then you move into a higher perspective. That could be interpreted through an entire life. You have one life, you think you know it all, and then it's time to transition into the next space to prove to you that you don't know shit. You just keep moving on through experiences. Each time you move into another experience, you take with you your experience from the last experience. This is how the light body gets more and more active. When we are bombarded by this alchemy through our subconscious in images and actual, 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 ima energy, like these so-called energy drinks. That's an actual alchemy. It's charged. It has an actual program, or it's calibrated to have a certain effect on you. Not only physically, when you drink all these energy drinks and then you end up having like heart conditions and problems and all that other stuff. But the subconscious programming that you can see in the images that are used also have an effect on you. You have little kids, wearing this stuff. You have little kids drinking this alchemy, and this is where it gets into where I was going to explain the the Zionist sort of mentality, where they have this image, they have the MerKaBa on their flag. That's not their symbol. That's an actual alchemy that is being used. It's thrown in our face. It's thrown in our face to activate that which is already existing within us. And if you give that power away subconsciously, then it will have an effect on your conscious reality. So at the basic interpretation of the MerKaBa, you have the Mer, the Ka, and the Ba, the connection to the spirit and the soul. In this space, this is basically just the light. It's the light body, the light, the spirit, and the body, the experience as a whole. The bridge between the as above and the soul below is the experiencer. This is why I say it's so important to not only look into the experience itself, the flat earth, but and understand the geometry and the alchemy of this experience, but go into the depths of the experiencer, which is the human story. So this definition, known in esoteric knowledge of ancient Egypt as the MerKaBa, the light, the spirit, the body, MerKaBa. The configuration of the star tetrahedron is formed within the first 8 cells of life and remains fixed at the base of the spine throughout one's life. The star tetrahedron also models the energetic body of the human being, blending of the heaven and earth, and male and female, subconscious and the conscious, the electric and the magnetic, the yin, the yang, so on and so forth. So I'll read this, but I don't know too much about the structure of the vacuum, but this says the tetrahedron is ubiquitous throughout nature because its 64 tetrahedron grid is the structure of the vacuum. So the only way I can relate that makes sense to me is, and for people who are versed in this information, how I've spoken in reference to the vacuum is the relation to the black hole experience and pulling in density and light into what could be seen as like a vacuum, like the sucking in of energy, which to create energy, to create a platform for energy to have an experience. This is what I was explaining in the black hole sun videos, and going off and using the definitions of the observations of the definitions of the program when they talk about black holes and all that other stuff. So a lot of this stuff has a particular coding to it. It has a meaning, and you can use that to interpret your reality, as long as you calibrate it to work for you instead of against you. Like a lot of this stuff is calibrated to work against you if you don't know what it is, what it's meant for. This image right here is just it was just a good I thought it was very curious. I don't know too much about or I can't confirm any of the locations of all these like volcanoes, the Sahara, the Hawaiian Islands, and all these other points on this map. I think this is located on, or this image is representing a spherical Earth, but I thought it would be good to use and to look at right now to get the gears going in reference to, for people who make flat Earth videos and start looking at the energy centers, or the different locations, hot spots on the Earth plane, and start to map them out. I tried it early on in my flat Earth research, just to see what was going on. I drew a whole bunch of lines all over the place, but I didn't really come up with anything that had any kind of image. But I use this image right now just to give an example of, other ways to look at the way this plane of existence is aligned. And also, I found it rather curious that they have this North Pole right in the middle. So if you were to see this on like a flat Earth design, as a flat Earth design, a flat Earth model, which is how I saw it initially, then you can start doing a lot of other different layouts to see how all this stuff is going. So that's for another video, or another person who makes videos can do that if they find that interesting. This image is another example of the formation of the egg, the egg of life, though. So the actual human experience from one cell to the next, and the organic nature of this geometry. This image is just to show some other examples of the geometry that's within, like, the flower of life, the relationship to the egg, the tree of life, and to go into the platonic solids on the bottom left. So the elements of this reality: the earth, the air, the water, the fire, the ether. And yeah, just to give some examples of what else is out there. Like I said, this is just a quick, basic 101 geometric relationship or interpretation of the flat Earth, the human experience, and sacred geometry and geometry as a whole. Like the basic alchemy of the makeup of what we're looking at here. And I wanted to tie it into images like this, the chromatic scale, the rodent coil, for people who are coming from more of a scientific observation of their reality. I had a close friend of mine who was actually making this free energy device, and was really, really interested in like putting that together for a long time. He was making it, and if you look online, there's probably a whole bunch of videos right now online, but about the rodent coil, but some actual free energy Tesla stuff going on. So people who are into the free energy stuff, look into the rodent coil. And I'm sure there's some relationship, because Tesla was talking about, this place as being a plane of existence. And he was tapping into the basic electromagnetic fields of this reality, and it's going to have some kind of relationship to, what we could use in this experience. So this is just some other geometry that was there. I wanted to use this image to give an example of the spin and the thoughts and the experience, and like I said, the everlasting unfolding of your experience. That's the only thing I was feeling in there. I was like, man, this is just going on and on and on, and each time I choose to have an experience, I just fold on top of myself in a different angle. So from one side, a 360-degree perspective, each time you shift, each day is different. Each thought is different. So that could be seen as a different angle or approach that you have on your experience as a whole. So the geometry of that is going to be of some kind of light vibration. When you are bombarded by commercial illusions like the heliocentric model, like the mainstream media, politics, anything that weighs you down into the synthetic universe, that will affect your spin. It will affect the spin of your root chakra, your sacral chakra, your solar plexus, your heart chakra, your throat chakra, your third eye, and your crown. Everything that is on the television is designed to affect your spin, whether it's the spin of your sacral chakra through materializing your interpretations of relationships and love and sex and art and dance. Everything that is manipulated by these illusionists has an alchemical foundation before a physical foundation, before any kind of political. It starts at the soul, then it goes to the mind, then to the body. So what people are realizing now is the physical spin of the heliocentric model is bullshit, and we are starting to get out of that illusory spin and get into the actual the non-physical spin of your light body experience. And this is not new. This is not something that is new. This is something that the ancestors were going into. This image that you're looking at right now is just a mathematical, one mathematical interpretation of the spin of the positive and the negative, the light and the dark, the magnetic and the electric, the yin, the yang, the feminine and the masculine. And we're all built up of these. This is the actual geometry of who and what you are, and who and what this experience actually is, and what you can do to affect your spin. Each thought, like I said, each thought is a spin. Each relationship is a spin. Each baby that you birth into the reality is a spin, the most infinite spin. You're bringing an infinite spin, or creating a portal for an infinite spin to manifest within this reality when you have a baby. So all of this stuff is not brand new. It only seems brand new because to some people, and scary for some other people, it seems that way because we've been so locked into the materialistic version of reality. It's based upon fear. It's based upon the fear of death. If you fear death, you fear spin. You fear transition. If you fear spin and you fear transition by fearing death, you're actually fearing life. So the more that you fear, the more that you're locked into these lower vibrations of lack and separation and death, zombieism, the undead, then that energy can be harvested by the illusionists who created those illusions for you. So that's harvesting of spin, which is harvesting of the soul essence, harvesting of your time. Through harvesting your time, the non-physical destructive intelligence is harvesting psychological, higher mind time, and soul time. This is the alchemy of these heliocentric mind controllers when they create this entire synthetic universe without any meaning and any purpose. When I say without any meaning and any purpose, from the Big Bang to monkeys and all that, that is to suck away your spin, to take away your existence on the baseline, so that you never get into realizing what your spin actually is. This goes into the separation of racism is involved in this too. So you have to beat down and dumb down those with some of the most influential spin in order to affect the MerKaBa, the light, the spirit, and the body. And I didn't think I was gonna go, because I could really go into this for a long video, but I don't want to make this a long video because the information is already there. I've spoken on this in a lot of previous videos, or a few previous videos. And also, as a recommendation, if you haven't checked him out yet, Bro Sanchez actually goes into this. I can't remember which video that he's got the name or the title of anything in reference to the MerKaBa, but I know that he's gone into an overview of this information in many of his videos. So check him out if you haven't yet. Bro Sanchez TV, and his new channel, Bro Sanchez Live. So, but I just wanted to give my little spin on this information because it includes what I talk about on a regular basis, and something that I haven't spoken on in previous videos, such as sacred geometry and the MerKaBa. So, to take it a step even further into the agendas that are around us, if you affect the spin of those with the most influential spin, then you actually affect the spin of the greater, like the collective. So when you understand the influence of the movement, I'll get into the melanin in a second, but really just from an observable reality and like pop culture, you see how a lot of the stuff, it's known that a lot of the mainstream culture steals a lot of the dances. You can see Elvis, so they promote Elvis over Chuck Berry. They promote the actors that act as gods and kings in these movies in Egypt are Caucasian people. Like, this is the manipulation of spin. This is taking an energy and reversing it. This is not to say that, excuse me, this is not to say that, white people have no spin or anything like this. This is just an observation of spin as a whole and relationships as a whole, and how that is manipulated to work against us. Because ultimately, it's not about the color of your spin. It's about what you do with that spin. You could be the blackest person. You could be the most skin melanated person in the world, be the most ignorant ass person at the same time. You are not activating your spin. And this goes into the neuromelanin, which is everybody has melanin. Everybody is built up of this melanin, and that carbon basis of is actually the 666, 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. This is what they were saying. The observable 666, which is not the beast programming and all that other stuff. That's to keep you away from realizing what this geometry really is, to keep you in a fear mentality so that you don't activate the basic spin and challenge the authority of the people who made you think and act a certain way. So this is where I was saying this is not brand new when you go into the melanin. And like I said, before I start reading this stuff, I'll get into that. Everybody has what is called neuromelanin, and I think his name was Dr. Edward Bruce Bynum. I have some of his videos locked linked in the hieroglyphics playlist on this channel. He actually goes deep into neuromelanin. and the relationship between neuromelanin and melanin, and the skin pigment melanin. And there is a relationship there, but everybody has neuromelanin, which is the actual melanin of your existence. But like I said, if you don't activate it, then it's activating, meaning like consciously being engaged in the spin of your experience, not in some kind of new age sort of uh, come on down to the new age center of life and activate your pineal gland for $2.99, and if you come in before 4 o'clock, you get a free crystal and coupon for a Reiki session on Thursdays and 50% off, activating your pineal gland. Come on down. It's that's the commercialization of something that is natural and exists, and the only way they can make you, buy into that is to be based in some kind of reality. So this is what I'm attempting to share with you, is a 101 glimpse of the reality portion of it that had already been interpreted and expanded upon by our ancestors, which is now being co-opted, repackaged, and sold back to the masses in the New Age community and in this New World Order with all this oneness, unity, this watered down version of oneness and unity and all this other nonsense that they're channeling through the New World, New Age agenda and New World, New Age order. This is why you have channelers like Cryon speaking at the United Nations. This is why you have channelers who are locked in, like it's basically a religion. So scientism is a religion, but since the mainstream religions are being imploded, like the mainstream television news is being imploded. So this is a good example of how it's being co-opted. These shifts are being co-opted. The mainstream media has been imploded in order to expand into a new version of consciousness based upon the consciousness of the people, who are not just going to believe anything that's told to them. When in that implosion, you have the birth of so-called alternative news. You have the birth of Alex Jones, the birth of the Young Turks, the birth of all these extra news channels, the birth of the internet, social media, YouTube. You have the birth of all this co-opted and controlled information that is being filtered through the same powers, that so-called powers that be, that were filtering your information through the mainstream news and the mainstream media. In that filtering is where you get the controlled opposition and the manipulation into the next agendas. This is how this stuff shifts. The mainstream religions are being imploded with all of the Catholic priest stuff that's being televised, with all the Scientology being brought down, with HBO and all these actors coming out talking about, Scientology made me do this, and we had so structured, and you have to do this, and all of this stuff is being brought down. And then you have, Christianity and Islam on the front page of everything being revealed for what it's been doing over the years. This is a systematic implosion, just like the mainstream media is being imploded by the alternative news sources and so on and so forth. So this is how this orchestrated implosion and simultaneous orchestrated awakening is being manipulated to make you think, act, and feel a certain way, to make you spin a certain way. When you buy into those programs because you're not thinking for yourself, you're not critically thinking, you are giving your spin away to the illusionists. So this is how I'm explaining what is really going on here. The same thing that's going on with the melanin and the melanin. So people who are researching melanin and neuromelanin is actually the essence of what is being manipulated and trying to be sold or spun a certain way by the mainstream media with this race agenda. The racism being manipulated on the mainstream media to make people fight themselves instead of having people understand, understand, and overstand themselves individually, culturally, racially, and collectively. We don't know any of this stuff because we're still caught up in the patriarchal program of, you know, fight the power, fight the system. If you constantly have that mentality as your foundation, you are powerless. Because if you say fight the power, then where is the power? Oh, the power's over there and it has to be fought. So I have to walk my ass over there and go punch the power in the face. Yeah, we did it. Take that. That's what the Hitler story is. This is where they create all of these villains for you. And you don't even realize that the war is being played by everybody. Everybody is being played. Every war is being manipulated and played on both sides. So fighting the power, fight the system, all that, instead of empowering yourself in the power and empowering yourself to create a system at a higher level of consciousness that's not subjected to people that empower themselves at the expense of others. This is what I'm saying is the difference between asking, you know, asking the mainstream media to acknowledge flat Earth, or asking NASA to, you know, release these images. You don't need these physical, materialistic images if you are already bringing into this reality an interpretation of this reality from a deeper level of understanding of overstanding that is non-physical. That's the 99th percentile of who and what you are. That actually has a geometry. It has a science, a true science. It has an alchemy to it that you're only going to be able to find out once you go into that information and into that that realm of understanding, and overstanding yourself. It has to be, and the only way you can do that is when you're ready. The only way you can do, and the way you become ready, is by releasing the density of the illusions that have been installed into your, conditioned into your experience to keep you from going there. So this is what I was saying in reference to the ancestors have already in many ways interpreted this experience in so many ways and have expressed it artistically without, you know, without it being watered down or manipulated to work against us with some, you know, religious dogma or all this other nonsense that's out there right now and being manipulated in the next agendas. The New Age is a religion. How is the New Age any different from Christianity? You can't think for yourself. You can't, if you challenge anything that a channeler says, something's wrong with you. If you challenge anything that these like David Wilcock and Corey Good talking about the Sphere Being Alliance and Cobra and all these secret space program stuff, if you say anything that challenges that, they label you. They literally kick you out, like being kicked out of the church or being shunned from an Amish community or being kicked out of Scientology. You will be shunned from the New Age if you're talking about flat Earth. I did a video, and I'll link it in this description right now, talking about how, or it was given an example of one of these channelers named Bashar being presented, which this video has now been removed from the internet. This channeler was presented with the flat Earth question more than once. This was just one of the examples. I think I have the other example in another video. But he just shuts down. He's like, no, you know that you don't live on a flat earth, right? You know that everything is brought together into spheres. So this whole sphere mentality that is, it's a different kind of spin. It's not an organic spin, and it's being sold to us, this watered down spin. That's basically what it is. So the New Age is a religion. If you don't walk around on cloud nine, exuding love and light and unconditional love for everybody that you see, and just pretty much just turning a blind eye to, everything else that's going on in the experience and your reality, all the people that are suffering from poverty, homelessness, not having enough food and water, being colonized, being genocided, all of those people are just having an experience because that's what they have chosen. And when they choose something else, then they will have a different experience. These are these prescription drugs that people use to add, credibility to their ignorance, their lack of true compassion and true unconditional love. And it's all watered down with this whole oneness and unity. Oh, once everybody realizes that we're all one, then everything will be better. You think just because you realize that we're all one, that's just going to stop the so-called powers that be from manipulating people to adjust and really kind of mess up this system for their benefit, to mess up your system for their benefit? It's not going to magically go away. That's completely imbalanced. This is what the New Age program is based upon. This is why they're selling you these agendas to make you to maintain that imbalanced nature, so that you don't challenge authority. So like I was saying in previous videos, we were dumbed down by fear and low vibrations like war and giving your power away to the system in the past. Now that the consciousness is raised, we're still doing that today. But now that the consciousness of the individual and the collective is being raised by not only the information that's being shared by the internet, but actually physically and non-physically in each experiencer, the vibrations are raising, and the system, in order to maintain its control, has to adjust with that. So this is where you have the New Age agenda being manipulated to, instead of dumb you down with fear, they're trying to dumb you down with love, or the idea of love. And this is where they sell you this artificial love and light, one aid, one world, government, unity, all this oneness stuff. And they're using the New Age to sell that in. They're using the New Age community to sell that in, with Oprah talking about, Super Soul Sunday and having Deepak Chopra and Eckhart Tolle come on there. And like I said in previous videos, the information itself has it does have it is reflective of some kind of truth. But if you're only selling a one-sided truth, then you're ultimately selling people into another control grid. That's what people like Oprah are doing when they harvest the energy of Eckhart Tolle and Deepak Chopra, repackage it into this mainstream perspective, and sell it to the masses. That's what this orchestrated awakening is. And the same thing is happening with Flat Earth. It's just being, to say tomorrow that the mainstream media decides to kick up Flat Earth and start to science the shit out of it so people can just believe in the system. It's the same thing. It's no different than the New Age being repackaged. The Flat Earth will be repackaged by the mainstream media in order to maintain power. Just imagine if it gets totally big, if like tomorrow 100 celebrities came out, because people only believe things if it comes out of a newscaster's mouth or a celebrity. 100 celebrities teamed together and made a video like they did with that stupid ass Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton stuff, where they were talking about we can't let the world go to shit. If Trump gets elected, we have to vote for Hillary. She's our choice. You know, if they made one of those stupid videos about flat Earth, like, well, it's been so long. Like, that would be a good idea to make a video, one of those dumb videos that those just basic videos of a whole bunch of people standing there looking into a camera very deeply and really making you believe with their almost like crying eyes, like Robert Downey Jr. staring you in the face and almost crying because of how important this information is, how important it is for you to get out there and vote for Hillary Clinton because you can't have Donald Trump as your president. Instead of that, have him out there talking about flat earth and instead of heliocentrism. NASA's been lying to us forever. We have to come together as one humanity and defeat the globalists who have been selling this heliocentric model forever. You don't think those videos are already being produced right now? They're already in the making. That's how people believe their experience. So all of this stuff is being, packaged already. And what I'm saying is that once it gets sold to you, the way it's being sold to you is actually what matters most. And if you don't actually realize the way it's being sold to you and what's being sold to you, and beyond that, even more deeper than that, is what you actually is, what you actually are, the empowered space of not being manipulated or controlled by people selling you anything. That's where I'm coming from in reference to your responsibility as an individual outside of this mind control program. So to close it all out, this image that you're looking at right now is an example of what the ancestors already went through. And like I said, this is not going to be this video is not an in-depth interpretation. I know there's a lot more information and stories that go along with these images and all this other stuff. This is just a basic 101 breakdown from my interpretation of our observations of this information. So this image showing the fez is worn as a symbol of the womb. The top of it has a nipple shape that symbolizes the navel. The strand of the tassels are 360 degrees, as in 360 degrees of knowledge. The tassel is not pinned down as it is in the secret societies. Properly, the free-flowing tassel is indicative of one who is born of the womb, endowed with an aspiring to and beyond 360 degrees of knowledge. They navigate upon the earth, and their potential is not limited, not pinned down or kept secret. However, it is sacred. The 4 sets of air holes are equal to the number of women, 9, and to 13, and add to 13 the number of times a woman cycles per year, which is in tune with the cycle of the moon. So all of that is very complex at the end of that. Very complex. But this goes into, I just wanted to give an example of deeper interpretations of the 666, this occult symbolism, the melanin, and so on and so forth. Because once you just get into the shallow interpretations of being scared off by titles and numbers and images and all that other stuff, that is the actual alchemy that keeps you away. Rightfully, it's good to keep you away if you're not ready to go into that information. Like people who are looking at this video and I don't like this video. I don't like this information. I'm going to dislike this video. That's fine. It's good because you need to look at other information before you look at any of the other information. It's not to like say higher or lower. It's just people are looking at different information based upon their focus, their time, whatever it is that they choose to take on right now. Like I didn't want to look at any of this information, you know, 3 or 4 years ago. I didn't want to. I literally was just like, I need to know about this first before I go into there. I need to go into here before I started to go into any of this information. I had to first be out yelling on the streets with Occupy San Francisco and Occupy Oakland, yelling at the bankers, trying to damn fix the system. That was my journey. That was one step in my journey. And then I realized, wait a second, this is not just a war, an economic war. This is a spiritual war. This is spiritual warfare. What the hell do I know about spiritual warfare? What is the spirit? What is the soul? What is all this shit? And that's nobody's responsibility, and nobody's responsibility other than your own to go into that information. It's your responsibility. And when you go there, you'll realize nothing is new. None of this information is new. All of it has been said before in some kind of way. And if anybody is telling you something is new, like the New World Order, the New Age agenda, and all that other garbage, then that's an automatic red flag to see that something else is there, something else needs to be looked at in order to see what's really going on here. So that's basically what I wanted to share with this video. The Melanin storyline is a part of it. Like I said, I'm not going to go into the depths with that because I've gone into it in previous videos, and if you want to research it on your own, you can. But like this image is showing right now, how I interpret the melanin is not based upon only your skin. It goes deeper than that. The melanin is actually the base of your entire carbon makeup. So the neuromelanin of your existence as a whole is not based upon your skin. It's just a reflective of your, how I see it, it's just a reflection of your relationship with this experience. In this chosen experience, what you've chosen, excuse me, your soul has chosen to have an experience in this physical body. What comes before the body is the soul. So does your soul have a skin color? It doesn't. I don't think so. Your soul has a vibration. Your soul has a spin, and your soul chooses to have an experience based upon whatever spin that is. So this spin that's available to you is based upon your ability to activate that spin or not. And there is a science to it. There's a science to the relationships, and it goes deeper than the skin. It goes deeper than that. Does that mean the skin doesn't matter? No. No. There's a meaning and a purpose here that we are being kept from going deeper into understanding that is very complex. And like I said, if you want to know a little bit more about neuromelanin, check out the videos. There's a whole like series of videos, but I have a few of them saved in the hieroglyphics playlist on this channel. Dr. Edward Bruce Bynum, he goes into the neuromelanin, which is basically pretty much like the metaphysical interpretations of melanin and how it goes beyond just the skin color. But yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to share with this video. And yeah, so thank you for joining me, and until next time, from all my relations, peace, love, and harmony.